So this is the point where I freeze and can't say anything and just stand here and stutter. Okay. So I want to encourage everybody to chip in. I'm not just going to stand up here and talk. The idea behind this presentation was to kind of initiate some discussion. And if you're not familiar with what I'm trying to do here tonight, it's similar to what Justin had done one time before. And it's just a series of questions, and it's kind of revolves around some things that I found interesting as I studied, things that I didn't think everybody was going to be exposed to, and I thought everybody had would enjoy some of the things that I discovered. Now I will warn you that. I intentionally mixed a few things in. It's total BS that I made up. And you know what really made me think about this kind of stuff was I was at Christmas time. I was sitting at the table with my I guess stepsister-in-law, and I was talking to her about bees and everything that I told her. She looked at me like, of course she knows me fairly well, and I would tell her stuff. And she's like, nah, that can't be true. And so she wasn't sure whether I was lying or whether I was telling. No, in this case, it was all the truth. But anyway, that's kind of where this comes from. I will tell you that the more you participate, that there may be benefits to doing so. If you over participate, Jay Robertson, it may affect the velocity at which they come your direction. So anyway, some of these are going to be from some simple stuff, but some of them are more complex. But hopefully, at the end of this, everybody learned something, even if it's just one thing. Okay, seatbelts buckled. Okay, first question. Young nurse bees from different colonies can typically be combined without triggering fighting. So, young beekeepers, Mr. Dillsworth, what were you taught? When did you take the class? This year or last year?
This year.
This year? So, did they go over anything about bees fighting? Can you combine bees?
I don't think I'm there.
Oh, okay. What's everybody else think? Can you just combine bees, or what's the?
Young nurse bees, yes.
So that's the key. Young nurse bees.
I didn't get it.
If the nurses say, oh, we just want more.
Yeah.
I took 3 guys and put them on with another one, and they emerged.
Yeah. You just mixed them. You didn't do it like the newspaper or anything.
Yeah, I usually did. One time I didn't do it and it still worked, but the last time I did, I put newspaper.
Yeah.
I put young and old ones in there.
Yeah. Just threw them together.
I put a 5-frame hoop right in one.
Okay. So who doesn't think you can do that? Who thinks you'll have difficulty? Nobody? Oh, sheesh. So I was expecting more of an argument, maybe. Anyway, so yeah, young nurse bees. It seems like we teach people this, and we do a lot in the beginning beekeeper classes. And it's probably a good general rule that you're careful on how you put bees together. But anyway, yeah, you can. When I took the queen rearing class over at Fairmont last year, and he was doing his starter colony, he was taking bees from 3 different colonies and shaking all the nurse bees together. And I said, is that aren't they going to fight or whatever? Oh no, he said they'll sort it out. It won't be. And it wasn't a problem. Okay. Any questions? No.
Later. I want to come back to that in a little bit.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, because I've got something I want to do maybe this weekend, but I want to wait to see what else you covered.
All right. And what,
question.
if we don't take too long, we got time at the end of this. And actually, I've got another question I didn't put in the presentation. We got time. We'll go over that. Okay, let's go to the next one. Bee road trip. By the way, I used AI to do all this. So there is a lot, if you pay attention, it's like, I told her that, you do a road trip, you gotta have snacks, right? So they put snacks in the car, and bee calls on. Anyway, so every year, almonds is a big deal, right, for commercial beekeepers. What percentage of bees that are in the country actually go to California?
60%.
60?
That's a D. It's higher than
Actually, I
Who
think-
thinks A? 30% of all bees. Who thinks 30? Joe? Who thinks B? 40%? Nobody? You? You say 40? Who says C? 50%? C? And D? Everybody else is at D? Okay. It's C. 50%. I will say that you probably can find a different number in different places, and this number may be 60% may be commercial, whereas this 50% may include, although we're a small percentage of all bee colonies, probably more beekeepers, but less colonies in what the people in this room.
Where are most of these bees coming from? Where are they being these apiaries?
Good question.
There's a lot in Florida, but there's a ton in,
Dakotas.
Dakotas, Minnesota, up in that part, because they store them in, buildings now.
Yeah.
It's a climate controlled building.
Where's the question about that? So I'll ask you that. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna reward the effort, but
You can attribute that to this Beekeeping Today podcast.
okay. Okay. Anyway, any other questions about that? This takes off a little bit. Some of the early stuff's a little.
There are bees that are all over the East Coast. I know we have at least a half dozen beekeepers from West Virginia that sit in the California.
And they do California as well? Yeah. I wondered about like the stuff in the Dakotas, whether they're still in cold storage and whether they make that or not, or whether they pull them out for that, or because obviously they probably can't pull them out. If they pull them out, they got to probably transport them somewhere because it's probably still too cold up there.
I'm not sure if they're moving from there, if they're moving them early and they're never going to cold storage or not. I know ones in West Virginia typically move around December, around Christmas time.
Yeah.
They go to California.
Okay. All right. Is that it?
Oh, yeah,
Okay. This is a free question. Everybody should know this. Which of the following visual cues best indicates a high quality queen honeybee? A large elongated abdomen, a well developed hypopharyngeal gland, darker than average coloration, or extra hair on the thorax. So what is it? It's A?
I'm gonna say-
Does anybody not think it's A? Okay. So we agree. We agree. Okay. This is a lead up question. This is just a primer.
What is even
I wanna know what that bee
Right,
part
me
is.
too.
What is it?
What is the bee part?
That's the gland in the back of their head that makes the pheromone to let everybody know that there's a queen there, right? Or is that the gland they use to make royal jelly?
It's the feet. I know there's feet involved, is it not?
That's a tarsal gland, the feet, right? I'm doing the presentation and I'm asking the question. Let's move on to the question. Okay, so true or false? Rapper Sean Ray, also known as Sir Mix-a-Lot, is an avid beekeeper. In fact, his most famous hit, Baby Got Back, is an homage to his favorite queen honeybee. True or false?
Just say
That's
so.
so off, it has to be true.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
What do you think? Who says that's true? We got one true. Who says it's false? Everybody else is it false? So, okay. So what if I show you this obviously non-AI generated picture of Sean, Mr. Ray, keeping bees? Does that change anybody's mind?
Yeah.
Now you're a believer, right? Is it the gloves with the obvious fingernails, and the frame that is obviously the modified line strip, right? Yeah. Okay, that's false. Okay, that was it. That was just
And yes, the hypopharyngeal gland is what produces the brood food. The queen, the brood, the feed. They used to produce the feed.
okay. All right. Is everybody disappointed that that's not true?
It would have made a whole story.
Wouldn't it? Well, I mean, you know, who's the other actor that keeps the bees? Anyway, okay, let's move on. True or false? Honeybees aren't picky foragers. They'll visit any nearby flower and switch between species as long as they're close together. False. Well, I'm in the wrong room.
Why?
Well, I'm supposed to be trying to trick you. I think I'm
Just that good.
I'm 0 for, what is this, 5? So does anybody, you just know that because you read it somewhere? Or has anybody actually put that to the test?
I watch them.
You watch them?
We got the multiple stuff in the yard.
Yeah? And you've never seen a bee go
They'll
for,
go for the open Simon.
Think about they do their dance. It's because there's a really good source.
Yeah.
A particular source.
okay.
I go out and watch my bees quite a bit. And my whole yard's full of flowers, because I was one of those who didn't mow in May, you know? And all my bees were going that way, my yard's over here.
Yeah.
So I had no idea where they were going, but they were going for something.
Yeah. I've watched them like when there's been dandelions and clover. And some will be hitting dandelions, and if you watch them, it'll go from dandelion to dandelion to dandelion. And the ones that are hitting the clover go to clover, and they keep, yeah. So, that's a fact. So, I believe that there's some level of efficiency by doing that, some level of efficiency that they gain by doing that. Okay, no questions? I promise these do get a little more interesting. True or false? Disposable pollination units, or DPUs, typically made of a plastic or foam container holding comb, brood, and bees, but no queen, were once tested in cranberry production by being dropped from airplanes. And I'm sure that they had commando bees that rode.
Sounds like something.
So what do you think?
I'm guessing true.
I say that's probably true.
Well, since the last one was false, that was true.
Oh, is that how it works?
See.
You know, maybe I should have checked my pattern to see if I was telegraphing or something. So who thinks it's true?
It sounds like something they would do.
Who thinks it's false? A couple false. Well, it's true.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
So there's queens.
Yeah, I read that and I'm like,
Oh my.
I guess maybe cranberry fields are just so remote that they just couldn't get them out there. So somehow made sense to do this.
They just want them to work and do the pollination and not worry about anything else, I guess.
Would they float on top of water? And,
I don't know. It didn't go. I had the same question.
styrofoam boxes in.
Yeah, they didn't pick them up, they could swarm them too, right?
Yeah,
Once
she
they
said if
go up.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
All right. How many distinct species of mites have been found in pollen and in beehives? How many can we name?
Not all
What do we know of, right? We know of
of them.
Tropy and Varroa and
Yeah.
The tracheal mites.
tracheal mites is 3, right? So we know there's at least 3.
Everybody left.
Yeah, I said that, so that's, yeah. Tropy, Varroa, tracheal is 3. So who said, so we know, so everybody agreed that the A is not correct, right? Who says B, 3? Who says C, 27? All right.
Well, let's go with C.
Who says D, over 40?
Eh,
Over there.
maybe.
Yeah.
More than we know.
Yeah, so it's over
Yeah.
40. Of course, you got to realize
It's
that
over 40.
most of those mice are innocuous to honeybees. You know, they're not causing any, not like varroa mites, not causing any trouble.
Okay.
But you can see the variety of different. You know, we can count these here, and we know there's more than 3, right? Anyway, okay. True or false? Africanized honeybees are less susceptible to varroa mites because their thicker brood cell caps prevent mites from entering developing larvae.
It might be, but that's not why.
I thought the larva was the vermite laid the egg in the cell with the egg.
Yeah?
Nights are before the
So
cat.
it's not
Okay.
kept.
Dang. There is a question I'm going to ask Justin to not say anything about because I know he knows the answer coming up here. But so you're saying false then
Yeah.
because you're saying that the mite enters before it's capped anyway, and so then it doesn't.
They're less susceptible maybe, but that's not why.
Yeah. So who says it's true? Anybody? I think Joey. I think you talked him out of it. So everybody's false. False. So correct. It's false. Actually, Africanized honeybees are less susceptible to varroa mites due to their faster larval development
See,
time.
that's not what I thought.
What did you think?
I thought because they are very swarmy.
Okay. Well,
It's a
what
day and
what
a half difference. So it ends up being one less brood.
which is cut in half
So
really
that-
instead of
doesn't
2.
that reduces like at least what, 1 mite or so developing per,
Particularly in the drone video.
yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
So that's kind of the reason I asked the question too. I just wanted to make sure everybody understood too that Joe's right that the mite enters the cell just before it's capped.
That was a good catch.
Yeah. But Bethany, to your benefit, this is not the sole reason in Africanized honeybees. There's actually at least 3, maybe more. They also do aggressive grooming, detecting and removing mites from their cells and each other. They have enhanced hygienic behavior. Bees quickly identify and remove mite-infested brood, breaking the mite reproduction cycle. And of course, as we just mentioned, the shorter larval time. Any questions?
Does that mean they're from Africa?
My understanding is that they were a mix of African bees. You know, Justin?
It's a subspecies that originally was from Africa.
Yeah.
They brought it over to
honeybees.
Brazil
Uh-huh.
for testing, and they got loose and they slowly worked their way up.
Worked their way up. Yeah. And you said swarmy as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something else too. I think that's part of the reason they didn't work out very well was they don't really make a lot of honey because they tend to swarm, which of course breaks the brood cycle and helps as well. Yeah. What else? We're going through these way too quick.
It's not worth it.
What's that?
It's not worth it to have them things.
Oh,
There's a reason why all the work with genetics and making grow sensitive and hygienic bees, nobody's working with Africanized genetics. Because the cost of it,
Just
of
pour
their
some
business
water
just outweighs. They didn't figure out how to separate the two. At least not yet.
probably too much genetically they would have to try to get rid of
They're just
rather than
too-
to keep that hygienic behavior.
Shayna's only had one experience with what she thought was Afghan honeybees here in West Virginia. She called me while she was inspecting them, and I couldn't hear her. It sounded like a hurricane.
Is that right? And they were Africanized bees, or?
Yeah, they were bees that had been in Florida and kind of came back.
Oh, okay.
It was a commercial guy.
Because I think generally they don't survive in this climate because they are so swarmy. They don't keep enough resources to make it through one of our winters, right?
Furthest north I've read that they've sustained colonies is Georgia.
Yeah.
In the east.
Okay. This is my favorite one. So it's a little tricky, so you want to watch the way it's worded. While American foul brood is rare, when present, European foul brood is frequently found alongside it in the same colony. So the question is, I mean, if you have American foul brood, you don't probably care whether you got a European foul brood or not, right? I mean, it's the end,
They're sick.
right? You're not going to save them. But the question is, if you were to test them, what do you think? Would European foul brood be typically found at the same time as American foul brood? They make it to that point?
I've never seen this.
That's a really good question.
I mean, it would be possible because they're sick and
Yeah.
they get extra,
So your thought
they're
is
susceptible.
So your thought is that they're already depleted, and so because we know that European foul brood is caused by, obviously it's a bacteria, but it's around, right? It's always around, like nosema. It's always there, right? But when they start to suffer from it, it's because of
They're kind of weak and
stressed.
Yes.
They're in a stressed
They
situation.
get sprains.
So your logic is then that because if they've got American
It's
foul
safe.
brood, they're already in a stressed situation and more
And it's
susceptible.
around.
Yeah. Does anybody? So you think that it would be typical,
I'm
just
just guessing.
frequently found alongside? You think yes? So you're saying true?
I have no idea, but we'll go true.
Who thinks it's false? Anybody have a theory on why it would be false?
Well, I think the key word is frequently.
Yeah.
It may happen at some times, but probably not frequently.
So you don't think it's frequent?
So I think it's not frequent.
Okay. So it's to you it's a semantics
Okay.
question.
One of the tricky,
Yeah.
tricky
So
tricky
what do you think? Do you think like 50% wouldn't be frequent, but would still fit the bill?
Well, I think that, what would be frequent would mean something over 50% probably,
Yeah.
right? And so the colony with American foul brood is already done.
Yeah.
It's gonna die. Why would why?
Well, that's why I say the stuff you're going to learn here tonight probably won't make you a better beekeeper.
So,
But
I'll choose false and if I'm the martyr, I'm
okay, are you ready for the answer? Is everybody ready for the answer? So who's true? You say true. Who else is it true? Who's it false? You're false. Trevor's it false. You're it false. Joe? Why do you think it's false?
Because I just don't believe it.
I've seen it. I don't think
That both of them together?
Yeah.
He's a foul brood denier.
So you don't think? So what? So you think that they just don't exist together?
No.
So you're not at maybe half the time. You're not hung up on the word frequent. You just don't think they exist together. Okay. So it is false.
Okay.
And Joe, you're 100% correct. You don't know why yet, but the truth is that American foul brood, the AFB pathogen produces an antibiotic that eliminates competition from other bacteria.
That's really cool.
And there are different bacteria that age like.
Yeah. So, if somebody ever asks you what's an effective treatment for European foul brood,
It's a permanent.
give them American foul brood.
It's a permanent.
So, Now you understand why this is my favorite question.
That's right.
Is that wild or what? Okay. Any questions?
That should be a, master gatekeeper test question.
Yeah?
I'm, like, that's crazy.
Okay.
Why is that we're not in Europe?
What's that?
Why is that we're not in Europe?
Well, yeah, they shouldn't even be allowed to have American foul brood or European foul brood over here, right?
Right?
Yeah, I don't know. You need to run those Europeans out of here. Okay. Which parasite is known for turning honeybees into zombie bees that abandon their hive at night? Is it tracheal mites, hive louse, forward fly, or wax mites? Or am I just totally full of crap and I made all that up?
All the time. That is not one of the
I mean, I'm totally full of crap. So what do you think? Anybody have does anybody actually know or sure they know the answer?
No.
Nobody?
E.
Okay.
E.
E? You don't think zombie bees are a real thing? You think I've heard that?
I'll say.
Have you heard that?
I feel like I have.
Yeah?
Honestly.
It's definitely a real thing.
This is, yes, I've heard it. I've heard the term.
But you don't know what causes it?
I think I won't say definitive, but I think.
All right. So, do we want to take a guess? Do anybody want to guess? Who says A? Tracheal mites. No. B? Hive lice. C? Forward fly.
It's C.
Yeah.
It's C. Justin put his hand up for C, so I'll say C.
D? Wax
I was thinking C, because it's.
mites. Anybody say D? Wax mites? Cindy? Okay. C? Forward fly. So you were right. So that was an educated. I guess I should have made it A instead of C, right? So a forward fly is a parasite that causes bees to leave the hive at night and die away from the colony, earning them the name zombie bees. So that's what a forward fly looks like. That's very much zoomed in. That is, I think they're 80 thousandths of an inch or 2 millimeters long. So they're like a fruit fly. So I could probably tell you what this says, but I'm going to read it to you just so I don't miss anything. In 2012, now I assume these have been around a lot longer than 2012, but this is when it was discovered. In 2012, a forward fly, the zombie fly, and I'm not going to pronounce that, was discovered infecting honeybees in San Francisco. The fly deposits eggs into the body of the adult bee where they feed, so around the mouth parts. So they'll gather close to the mouth parts of the bee. Then exit the bee at the junction of the head and thorax, decapitating their host to pupate. Up to 15 maggots may emerge from a single worker. Honeybees infected with the zombie fly depart the hive at night and are attracted to lights where they die, creating the media term zombies. If bees are seen flying under lights at night, or if crawling, disoriented or dead bees are found beneath nighttime lighting, collect live and dead bees, put them into a screened container to watch for maggots emerging from the bee body to confirm their presence.
Wow.
So, it's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's really that big of a problem. I think it probably just, what do you think the range? Of course, they found them in San Francisco. Do you think we have them around here?
Should be north, with a name like Borealis at the end of it.
Yeah?
It's not, I guess, with being in San Francisco. Borealis is, Aurora Borealis, northern lights.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think the range is? They're worldwide. There is no isolated areas. They're everywhere.
We have them around here.
That's never.
Supposed to,
I've
yeah.
never heard of that before.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I'm glad.
So has anybody ever saw their bees flying around lights and stuff at night? Who's gonna pay attention now?
I'm gonna pay.
I haven't seen them flying around the lights at night, but I have a light on the front of my garage, and I'll typically see a few dead bees
They do it by porch light.
in front of the
Yeah?
garage.
So is it possible you think that maybe we've got this problem and it's just so small that maybe, so,
So what should I do, collect them in a jar and see if I get maggots?
yeah. Well, just see if their head pops off. Right?
I think they just stayed out too late and they go to the lake.
Well, I tell you, I've stayed out late and thought that my head was gonna pop off. That's probably not the same thing though, is it?
It could be.
Probably because of what you had.
Could probably too much of that,
You're infested with something.
propolis tincture or something that might be just like a bean made. Yeah,
Nothing good happened after midnight.
all right. Any questions about forward flies? See, here's the thing too, by staying in here, listening to all this, you agree that if you ever win an episode of Jeopardy based upon any of these questions, that you have to split the money with me. Okay? True or false? Bees can tell time. Anybody ever saw a bee with a watch? Bees wear watches.
Well, I do.
I think they can from the sun's position.
Well, yeah.
I think they do it by the sun.
Yeah? Do you think they know what time of day it is, or?
Not time
You
in
think
the
they-
sense that we
I don't think they
know.
know it's one
Not like
o'clock in
we
the
know.
afternoon, but I think they probably know when it's
Time is
to
a
go home.
construct.
Time to go back to these.
You
So
know,
let me ask you a question. How would you prove that? How would you prove that bees can tell time, tell the passage of time?
Well, not by a watch.
I don't know about all that.
You think maybe they carry cell phones and have clock on a cell phone?
Well, we
You
know,
think if they have watches, you think maybe they wear one on each hand or just one?
we know that the waggle dance is based on the location of the sun.
Yeah?
So if they're smart enough to know the location of the sun, I mean, at whatever time of day it is, the sun moves.
Yeah.
The sun
That's interesting that
The
you
earth moves,
touch on that.
but, I mean, like, so they know that, like, if you have what's the old sundial, so, you know, if you were going according to time of the sundial, they probably really know.
They know when it's time to go home.
They do.
So, what is everybody, so who says, who thinks it's true? Bees can tell time.
I think it's true. I mean,
They know when to get up in the morning and go find something to
it's
eat.
relative.
Yeah.
They know when to come home.
So who thinks it's false? Who thinks bees aren't able to tell time?
Justin, what do you think? We'll know if we're right or not.
All right, it's true.
Oh, it's true, they can.
Bees can tell time. So the question is though, how do you think they prove that bees can tell time? I mean, how do they come to that conclusion? So if bees are imprisoned on their way back from a foraging trip, they accurately compensate for the passage of time given the correct sun time in their dance, even if not allowed to see the sun's new position when released to dance.
Honeybee democracy.
I don't think that was covered in Honeybee Democracy. The waggle dance obviously was, but I don't think that's not. I've read Honeybee
They
Democracy.
talked about imprisoning them when they came out and holding them, and then when they released them, they would
Did it?
adjust for the.
Maybe it is in there.
Which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, that book is if you get a chance, that's definitely a book to read. Yeah. So how many tax dollars do you think we spent to learn this? Okay. But everybody's pretty good. I mean, you know, you guys, even when you don't know for sure, you usually lean in the right direction. So, okay. True or false? In the southern United States, beekeepers will place boxes of combs infected with wax moths on top of fire ant mounds for a couple of days to eliminate infestations.
I can see it.
Does it sound true?
I mean, are they like meat eating the ants? I would say they are.
I don't know if you ever stand on top of fire ant mounds.
Well, that's
You don't
true.
think they're meat
I don't have a
eaters.
lot of experience with fire ants, so yeah.
Oh, them things hurt you.
I mean, would you be trading one problem for another?
I don't know. What do you think?
I would never
Okay, so
tip it
we're
over and place it in the light.
going with the previous
sunlight
theory
in
of the true to false ratio.
What do you think,
I'm
Brandon?
wrong when I say true.
What'd you say? False? You don't think that's true? Anybody else have any input?
Well, I think they're talking about the southern United States and some odd things happen there.
Do you think Florida man does this?
And if there's a natural remedy to save your colony and stuff, what's going on, and it's available, somebody would have found that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 100 years ago,
We didn't have some of the things.
you had to do what you could do, right? I mean,
That's right. Yeah, so I think that it's still possibly true.
it's true.
It made sense to me.
And it evidently is effective, as you can see that
Yeah.
this wax moth has crosses for eyes,
Yeah.
as does this one. This one's on its way out, maybe. Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
But then,
The fire ants didn't mess with the honey apparently, or the bees.
I think at that stage of the game, I'm too worried about the honey about it.
Yeah, the hives get sued.
Yeah. There are different kinds of ants. There are ants that eat sugar. And
Yes.
then there are ants that eat
yes, I've
protein.
seen
That's
that.
right.
And so the way you kill those ants is different as well. So I don't know. Evidently, if fire ants eat larvae, they're protein ants and not sugar ants.
So these
So-
people,
Yeah, that's never.
Huh?
they'll eat people.
Oh, like Jeff
But
was.
then you'd have a fire ant infestation then. Now you gotta get rid of them.
Okay, them things hurt. I've been in on that stuff.
Yeah.
Go to New Mexico and get in with the fire ants who are eating jalapenos.
Oh.
That hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? Anybody else have any other ideas?
I'd be interested to know how they retrieve the box. when they're
Yeah.
done. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Where I read it didn't get into all the details, but okay, let's move on. Okay, there exists a wild bird species that actively recruits humans using specific calls to help it access food hidden inside beehives. That don't sound like BS, does it? I mean, this picture, listen, obviously, these birds have it together, where they've got the reflective vests and what is that, a lightsaber, or are they landing
That's
aircraft, or what are they doing here? Yeah. So what do you think? Is there a bird that will actually talk to humans and guide them to bees' nests?
How do you think so?
I don't think so.
You think that's false?
It's probably, you know what?
So it's
probably
BS.
true. Yeah, it's probably true, but I'm gonna say it's false. Yes, yes.
Glenn, what do you think?
I was looking at the fire ant thing.
Oh,
It says they'll just, I'm getting off your tangent, but it just says take them away from the area and the fire ants just leave.
we'll leave them. Yeah, pick them up. That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I'm
Just
just
clean it up and then they're done.
Probably they don't want it anymore. Once they get all the larvae out of there, there's nothing to attract them. So
false.
false. Everett, you think it's false? Trevor, what do you think?
It's false.
False?
I like
Jay?
certainty.
Trevor knows all, I'm gonna agree with it.
False? Cindy?
We gotta get our balance over
John?
the ratio that.
So who says, who, is there anybody that thinks this is true?
Yeah, I know he's going.
Justin? You've been awfully quiet.
I say.
No, I'm thinking that, you always see online that picture of there's like a hawk or eagle or something that's always carrying away a big chunk of honeycomb. I wonder if that's the species, I don't know. So I'm gonna say true just because I'm curious.
So you think that bird actually coaxes humans to go find a nest for it?
People.
I think it figures out, makes sure the humans find the honey and then steals from the humans once they find it.
I think I'm starting to get in my groove here late in this presentation because
Yes.
it's absolutely true.
I knew it.
That is the bird. I'm not saying that's the bird.
So
I know what it's called.
there are more than one honey guide, but this is details on the greater honey guide. Wild bird that actively recruits humans and some other animals, and I believe it's just mammals, using specific calls to help it access food hidden inside beehives.
I got a fact check that one.
You know that?
So what does it say? Come on?
What's that?
Come on with me?
I don't know. I guess now thinking about it, maybe I should have downloaded like some audio or something of the call.
Where's this bird?
Africa.
Look, okay.
It's Africa.
So like, I mean, it kind of makes sense because I'm thinking not beehives, I'm thinking bee trees.
Yeah, cause they're.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you think in that sense, it could be,
Yeah, so the bird's not able to get in himself, but if he can talk somebody into breaking it open, right? Maybe.
So I guess the only reason the people would be, so the bird, people know the bird makes this call, is like, they're looking for the honeybee. So that gets the people to go, cause they want the honey, and then maybe,
You figure out in the woods looking for a bee tree.
It's symbiotic,
And you notice every time you go looking, you hear this bird, and every time you hear it, look at it, you follow it, it takes you right to the bee tree.
yes, so you're
So
going
you
for the
start following that
honey,
bird.
and it's trying to
Here
get.
it is, here it is, here it is.
Say, no.
I mean, is this one?
That's in an African language.
Yeah,
we can't understand it.
Yeah, it's not.
So it works out because the humans or other mammals want to eat the honey, right? But the bird actually eats the wax in the brood.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
any questions about honey guide? Or let me ask you, does everybody believe it now, or does anybody still think that's BS?
Where does
I
that
mean,
bird
anything's
reside?
possible.
Africa.
Is it just Africa?
Yeah. And there's more than just the one species of greater honey guide. There are other honey guides as well, but it's just the one that.
It's called the honey.
I mean, I could do 30 minutes on honey guides, I guess, but that's not the point. Okay.
Google says if Scott Matheny tries to sell this to you, you're not believing it.
It's probably right.
Spell Matheny wrong.
True or false? Without access to brood less than 6 days old and originating from a fertilized egg, a colony cannot produce a new queen.
That's true. They can't.
Bethany says it's true.
They can't.
It doesn't say whether or not they still have a queen in that colony.
Without access.
Yeah, but they cannot produce a new queen.
I thought the larva had to be less than 3 days or no.
Yeah, it's just-
Well, but brood is 6 because it's 3 days as an egg and 3 days as a larva, so you're on that 6th day. Yeah, I fiddled with that wording as well. It got to be cumbersome to try to separate it and say 3 and 3 or whatever. So Greg, you think you've heard this before? So what? Maybe we'll just skip over you for just a minute. Who else thinks that they can't do it? They can't make a queen if there's a cutoff. There's a cutoff where the brood is past a certain age. That's it. They can't. They're now hopelessly queenless. Does everybody think that or not?
Well, the next one wouldn't be a very good one.
So they gotta feed royal jelly for how many days? So that's, you can work it backwards, right?
Yeah. Well, they feed it the first 24 hours is 100% royal jelly, then it tapers off. But there's a point where at 6 days, typically, that's the general understanding, right? That's what we teach everybody, is that at day 6, that's it. That's the cutoff, right? At day 6, even if they make the queen, if it hasn't been fed royal jelly the whole time, it's not going to make as good a queen as it would if it was, right? That's why we draft on day 4, right? Or am I wrong? Does anybody disagree with that? So let's take a vote. Who thinks this is true? You guys do. True?
I know what you're thinking. I said, he's probably tricking us. I know you.
You think-
I know you.
I'm here to expand our knowledge base.
I'm going based on
I saw this
everything
tweet
you told me.
earlier, and I spent the entire drop in Parkersburg trying to figure out how this could be true. How could this be false?
I
can't
listen. I would have thought you actually already know the answer. I can't believe you don't, because I think I might have learned. No. Who thinks this is false? Anybody at all think it's false?
I'm gonna say false because I think you're probably right.
You say false. You know why?
No,
You're just-
I think they can uncap and royal jelly that one to produce a queen.
Uncap.
What do you mean?
So you think like day 10 even? That, no.
Almost-
Well, if you're gonna uncap, it's
One
gonna
of the
be
youngest. One of the youngest cat.
yeah.
I seen something.
And you don't know why. You just think that you just know you don't trust me.
She don't trust you, yeah. She's going off of vibes. She's going off of vibes.
Okay, let's talk about it. So the answer is false. But here's the kicker. For all intents and purposes, with everybody in this room, that's true. The kicker is that there exists a subspecies of Apis mellifera on the Cape of Africa called Apis mellifera capensis, and they have the ability. Well, let's just read because I don't want to tell you wrong. In most honeybee species, that statement is true. However, the Cape honeybee, Apis mellifera capensis, can break this rule. Cape honeybees can develop a queen from an unfertilized egg through a process called, you're just going to have to, something parthenogenesis. So they're native to South Africa from the Western Cape to East Africa. Capensis workers can lay unfertilized eggs or drones, and under certain conditions, those eggs can develop into queens. This allows a colony to raise a new queen even when no younger worker brood from fertilized eggs is available, a rare but remarkable adaptation that helps colonies survive in challenging environments. So
Either from you or Shannon. I mean,
I forgot about the Cape Honeybee, yeah.
I said, what
Well,
you say it's a species.
it came up on one of your presentations here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember in what context.
I don't know what the context was. We had a really good conversation.
Yeah. So my understanding is the reason that they have developed this ability is because of the high winds that are typical for the southern Horn of Africa. Right? Is it southern Horn or just the Horn of Africa? The Horn of Africa. Anyway, because of, what's the average rate of mated queens returning in West Virginia? Anybody know? What do you think?
70%.
70%? Okay. Is that typical for everywhere, or does that change?
It's dependent.
Yeah, so California is, anybody know? Like 90-95%, right? Better weather, right?
Yeah.
So obviously in, higher winds are gonna make it harder for queens to find their way back. So they've developed this ability so that if evidently, there are probably a very low rate of mated queens returning. So I would say that it's not going to create a high quality queen, but it gives them the chance to maybe do a supersedure on down the road.
Now, are they just a wild, or are they domestic to where they actually?
That's where they're
raise
from. It's
them?
from the
Right, but is that a type of honeybee that they actually keep domestically?
Good question. I mean, I imagine if you're from that area, that just like we catch swarms, they're probably going to do the same thing. I don't think it probably doesn't have enough other positive traits that it's made. Like Italians and Russians have made their way to other parts of the world. That's just a guess. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, they are managed, I think, more for pollination than for honey production. So if I remember, I think the colonies are on the smaller side.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
If my memory's correct.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of hitting my stride now. I was worried there for a little while. I started off kind of cold. Wonder what's next. Question: true or false? Bees blow bubbles with their nectar before placing it into storage. I mean, you look at this guy, right?
We've never
Or
encountered.
this girl. I mean, she's doing it.
That's how they dehydrate.
Is that what?
That's what I think.
Yeah. So you think? Let me ask you a question. Are you just making that guess because I said this, or?
Yeah, I'm a guess. That's a guess. That's an educated.
So you think it's true, and you think that the purpose is to dehydrate the honey?
Yeah.
What? Anybody else? Does anybody else think it's true? Why do you think it's true? What do you think?
Well, in a B class I attended, there was quite a discussion about this, and it blew my mind that bees actually blew bubbles. And
Yeah.
they actually, yes, and they actually had pictures of people with blew bubbles. But I can't for the life of me remember why. I didn't know if it was for scent or for
Yeah.
the source of the nectar or that type or what it was.
Who else thinks it's true? Or somebody else? What?
Maybe for the reason of dehydration.
Yep.
To begin with, because that's what they're aiming to do. And if they, and if they're tired of fanning it all the time, let's help,
Yeah.
blow bubbles.
Yeah. Who thinks it's false? Anybody at all? These guys talked you out of it, didn't they?
I have no idea.
No, who doesn't have a guess? Who's riding the fence? Tim?
I don't trust it, she said. I don't trust it.
It's true. Bees blow bubbles.
I remember reading.
And I want to show you too. These are special
I need
bees
photo evidence.
because not only does this bee have mouth parts here, but it's also got a little pucker over here. So thank Chat GPT for that. Yeah, they regurgitate a portion of the nectar from their honey stomach to produce a bubble at the mouth parts. And you can see this is the depiction. Now, and this is what I found interesting as well. This depiction is from 1925. So we've known this for 100 years. This creates a large surface to volume ratio, allowing the water to evaporate in the warm hive environment. When I had AI create a slide for me, and I showed it this picture, and I said, I want you to incorporate this picture. It actually created a bubble, like a big bubble out here. And I'm like, no, dude, you can't do that. Okay. Any questions about that? So Joe, you were spot on.
Well, thanks.
I think you knew.
It was just a guess. It's logical to me.
Yeah. True or false? In the 1990s, the activist group Hive, the Humane Initiative for the Valuation of Entomofauna, attempted to form a union for honeybees and demanded from apiarists that bees be given at least 1 day off a week and shorter foraging hours for the remaining 6. So
There's probably some activists group.
So you're saying false, right? You guys love that.
Yeah, no, we're saying that.
There are some pretty weird groups out there.
So we got a contingent that says it's true because there are some wackadoodles that would do this.
Yep.
So who thinks there's no way it can be true?
Anything, it's
You think both?
Yes.
So okay, who says it's true? Show of hands. True.
Stop hurting
I don't want to, but.
Okay, who says it's false? But listen, that's not every hand. You think it's false? You're the only one sure it's false? Okay, maybe I can help you out. What if I show you this USA Today article
This is like he did earlier, he's tricking us again.
May 16th, 1990, okay?
Yeah. Well, USA Today was around in 1990, right? Does that change anybody's answer? Who changed? Who? After seeing this, who changed their mind?
This says Scott's Hole.
It's false. I had a fun time making this one though.
Oh, I bet you did.
Yeah, but it's never fallen in the cranberry.
Okay. This is the last question. We're down to it. True or false? Beekeepers in northern climates keep indoor wintering buildings to keep honeybee colonies alive. Huh?
False.
False? Who says
True.
true?
True.
Who says true? Who says false? You say false?
They have the air conditioner because of all the heat from the bees.
Answer's false.
Wait,
Oh, you're right.
there are
What's the difference between?
Think- Listen,
in,
beekeepers in northern climates heat
oh,
indoor wintering buildings.
Oh, okay.
okay.
They don't. So that's why I found this very interesting.
So what, I have a question then. What temperature do they try to?
Oh, we're gonna get there.
To?
We're gonna get there. There's one more slide, and then we're done. Okay.
37 degrees.
They don't have to heat it because the bees make enough heat, right? What's it called, Jay? You're an HVAC guy.
Okay.
What's it called? You put people in a room, and suddenly you got
Humidity.
load.
Well, load.
Yeah, well, you put too many people in a room, the temperature goes up, right? Well, that's what happens. They get so many bees packed in these buildings that they actually create enough heat that they don't actually have to supplement the heat. In fact, they regulate temperature between 40 and 45 degrees. Now, before you say, I read 37 and a half, you probably did.
Oh, I just heard 37 was
Yeah.
one of the temperatures.
But the four things that they do monitor is temperature, and for the sake of the argument tonight, we're going to say 40, 45 degrees. What's the key to 40, 45 degrees? What do you think?
So, if they're not heating them, how are they regulating and maintaining a temperature?
Ventilation.
Okay.
It's still clustered.
So probably means that they can't put them in the buildings too early, right? What happens if you put all those bees in a building and suddenly you have a warm spot in November? Now you got a problem, don't you? Yeah. So they probably have to, at that point, they got to actually cool the buildings. So temperature between 40 and 45 degrees. Light's a big key. They seal all light off from the building because the bees won't come out until they see light. So they don't actually block the bees off. Right? Do you think they're in there going, now I know the sun should have come up by now.
Call the human.
They're like, we must be in Alaska. This is 24 hours of darkness. This is not getting it.
Yeah.
But no, they even, you know how a lot of buildings will have like an airlock where you go in, there's double doors or whatever. They actually do that for light. So that if you go in to check the bees, you go in, shut the door behind you, and that keeps the bees in total darkness, and they'll remain inside the box. Because they can't totally block them off. I guess they could screen them, I guess, but
They use a lot of red lights.
the red lights is a possibility. Ventilation provides fresh air, removes excess moisture, heat, and gases, and CO2 levels are a concern, right? Because the bees are in there breathing, and they can have a buildup of CO2, which is obviously going to build up in the building as well. So they're going to ventilate for that as well. So, what do you think is the benefit of maintaining 40 to 45?
It's about the dew point.
Yeah.
About the dew point, I think, to keep the moisture from building up on surfaces, because the air, the ventilation that they're bringing in too is going to bring massive moisture with it. And if we start refrigerating too low, then we're gonna have a bunch of condensation, which is gonna drown.
Yeah. What do you think about the fluctuation of temperature? Think that's important?
A nice day temperature means they're gonna eat less honey. They won't get clusters much either. They go into, they store in the wind a lot less honey than we do.
So you kind of want them to go into that torpid state and then just hang out, right? Not come in, come out, like they do here, right? I mean, we
Yeah,
have.
like our last couple winters have just been up, down,
So
up,
it's
down,
kind of
down, down, it's rough on the bees.
Okay. I just find this interesting. So really, whatever they're doing here is what we'd like to have happen naturally, right?
It's really interesting to watch the videos in the spring when they clean out and have these just mountains of dead bees.
Oh,
Those bees actually die over the winter time.
Yep.
You know, they have to shovel them out.
Do they do any type of clean out? Do they go in and rake bees out in the middle?
Yeah, you'll see in the spring, you just see big piles of dead bees outside the facilities.
Yeah. So then that's part of the maintenance as the winter goes along is to keep them cleared out.
They built them specifically for this now. The original buildings they started using for were potato storage warehouses.
Yep.
That's why they would store potatoes everywhere.
Yeah.
Similar kind of climate controls. Environmental conditions.
Actually, Scott, the control for HVAC, what gives you comfort is removable humidity. I'm surprised that ended up, though the bees are putting out a lot of moisture, if you're looking at commercial application.
Removes excess moisture.
If you don't, is it up there?
Removes excess.
Sorry, teacher.
Well, I'm stuck on that.
What else? So that's it. That's all I put together, and it was right at an hour. I was worried. I thought I didn't want to go too long, but we don't have to be done. You had a question.
I do,
Tim.
now that let's go back to that very first one, where about, mixing bees. So, right now I have three swarms waiting for me.
Yep.
So I put up 7 swarm traps this year, and I've got 3 swarms. So, let me back up, for those who don't know me, I'm a lands frame, right? So, I've built 2 20-frame lands this year, and I'm really considering running a double hive in one of those 20-frame, at least temporary. So that'll give me 9 frames on one side and 9 on the other, whatever. But anyway, so my question is, and the reading that I've done says yes, this is very possible to do this. For a divider board that completely separates the 2 sides. But then I got to thinking, and my daughter actually asked me this question. She goes, "Well, Dad, do we put those bees in that hive at the same time, or do we install one colony and then wait a specific time and then install the other colony?"
So I don't think I understand totally the situation. You've got 2 different boxes of bees. No, you got 2.
I've got 3 swarms right now, waiting to go into it.
So it's still in the swarm trap.
Yeah, they're still in the swarm traps.
Okay.
So I want to bring these swarm traps home, and I have one 20-frame box, horizontal,
Yep.
that lay inside. So I want to install those swarm traps. I want to install 2 swarm traps into one box, right? So, and I've done some reading.
We're assuming that all these boxes of bees are queen rate.
Well, they're fresh swarms, so I would presume that they're,
Yeah. What's the equivalent of a double screen board in a lands? Is there an equivalent?
Most people don't use them in the lanes, do they? John?
Double screen.
Yeah,
I have one in the winter time, I wanna have 8 frames.
yeah, that's me, 7 to 8.
Drawn out, going in before we make it through the lanes. And I can tell you, I'm at 20, a lot of mine, I'm at
between 18 and 20 frames right now.
Yeah, my 15 frames, you know, I'm at 12 or 13 frames,
I mean,
so.
I think it'll work for a little bit, but I think it's gonna run out of space.
Well, that is my.
So why do you wanna combine them? You just want bigger colony, or you just have
No, I
limited
just want
equipment?
hive. I'm gonna build another hive, I just haven't done it yet, time-wise.
Short on equipment.
So you don't have any place you just don't have any place to put them, you just
I
have,
don't have any place to
and
put it.
so for lack of having equipment, you wanna combine them
I wanna,
somehow.
I wanna do 2 colonies in one box. So my question is, do I just install those at the same time?
So let me ask you a question. What if you did this? What if, instead of, since ultimately you'd like to have 2 colonies, what if you, use one of the swarm traps as like a resource hive and pulled frames out, gave them empty frames so that they didn't, get crowded, right? Instead of trying to combine them, you just pull bees out and put with the other ones that you put in the equipment that you've got until you can build your second box and then start with what you got left in the other swarm trap.
Yeah, these swarm traps are 5 frames.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, I mean, I could leave them in.
I mean, because ultimately they're going to build up, and then you're going to have a problem. They're going to want to swarm out of the swarm trap.
Right.
But if you do it like a resource hive and take stuff away and give them something to work on, keep them cut back, then you should be able to maintain that colony, right?
Yeah.
Am I off base? Listen, I'm not an authority. Just because I'm standing in
No,
front of the room.
that is one scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's where and I had thought that, well, I mean, they'll be okay in that 5 frame swarm trap, you know, for a couple of months. I mean, because once July is over, right? I mean, the nectar and stuff starts slowing down.
Yeah, I don't know.
It
Depends on circumstances, right? I mean, it could be okay and it could not be okay.
I mean, I've got a Langstroth box that's deep enough that I fit Lane's frames in.
Yeah.
And it holds 7 or 8 frames. I've added supers to that. As a matter of fact, I had one today.
You added Langstroth supers to it.
Langstroth, just to give them enough space because.
Is that, of course, that means you gotta build a piece of equipment, but it's probably easier than building a new layers hive, right? And that might be a piece of equipment that long-term is gonna be beneficial more than just this one instance, right?
possibility.
So what do you think about that idea?
And you're just taking a box and putting the board.
Putting a board across.
And then later, you could just cut the Langstroth frame and fit it into the Lands frame, if you want to do that.
Hey, I mean, I suppose
Using Lane's frames in that.
you could use 2 deeps.
Or you could shake the bees out, extract the honey, and then return the Langstroth stuff. Do you run any Langstroth stuff at all?
No.
You're 100% lay-ins. So there's a piece of equipment that you do
Yeah, I don't-
long-term.
Now, I don't know, the last club meeting, so right now I have one 20 frame and one 15 frame that I transferred a Langstroth into.
Yeah.
So I turned them the opposite way, and I can put 9 Langstroth frames in there. The 20 frame one I can have 8 lay-in frames.
Yeah.
And so that's worked out so far so good. They're still there, and they're very, very active. And so, but I'm still not sure if the queen will migrate herself over to the ladies' frames, which is close to the entrance. So we'll see.
So you say transfer from one to the other pretty easy then.
Yeah, they do. I mean, like the dimensions on the Langstroth frames.
Allows you to turn it sideways in
Yeah,
the Lands box.
you know, like Lane's frame lays this way, so I had to turn the Langstroth this way. But the Lane's top bar is 1.5 inches wide, so it works out perfect dimensions. I can't remember what the number is, but let's see, 8, 20, so 8 is 12. So those Langstroth hives are, like, it uses up 12 spaces for the lanes. That works perfect. So, but whether the queen, you know, what I'm doing is every time I go and inspect, when I find, because I didn't want to get rid of the brood, right? So when I go and inspect, as soon as I find a frame that's it's got very little brood in it, I'll pull it out. I'm just gonna keep doing that on my inspections, and hopefully, then they should migrate over to the other ones. I'll shake the bees off, pull it out.
The other thing that I want to add, and I'm not going to tell you this because of experience, because I can't tell you that I've done this, but I've been warned, going back to combining 2 hives without doing like a newspaper method or whatever, or even two queens even, or I have been warned that if you have a weak colony, let's say 2 or 3 frames of bees, and you want to supplement them, and you just pull a couple of frames off of another strong hive that's very strong, and you mix with those bees, that's a situation in which those bees might go kill that queen.
Okay, so let me.
Well, does anybody disagree or agree, or is that,
So what do you think the situation would be there if they decide to go to kill queen egg?
Yep.
But they have freshly brewed, and which they could choose to create a new queen.
Yeah.
I think that's what they would do, right?
So there won't be any access, unless they come out and go in the other entry, there won't be any access through the hives.
Oh, so you're saying just put them in the same box?
I'm just saying.
Put a divider board in?
Put a divider board in.
Oh, I thought you were actually trying to.
No.
So we have to.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, so, and then ultimately you want to move those bees back out.
I will move one back out into the next one. But my biggest question is, like, is it okay just to do it on the same day, or should I install one and wait a couple of days and then install?
Well, I mean, if they're totally separate, if they're isolated from each other, they don't know that they're next door, right?
But they'll be, I mean, they'll know.
I've put 2 nukes in a resource hive on the same day.
Okay.
And haven't had problems.
Okay.
Two
So I
nukes.
just was a second.
Two queen right nukes? And let them mix.
No, they're a resource hive, so they were separate at the
Split.
bottom. They had got to where they built up to where the shared
Yeah,
boxes.
so they're side by side, and but in a resource hive though, you got entrances on opposite sides.
And
Right.
same thing with I've done the same with, what's the little mating nuke that Acme has? It's 7 frames with a divider and 3 on each side. I've installed queen right behind them.
I've got one of
That
those.
sounds exactly what.
Well,
Yeah.
in the summertime, when you open your follower board up to allow for ventilation, so they're not too hot, you're running issues maybe there.
You know, that's a good point. I mean, because with this land type hive, our top ventilation is in the lid, so we would have to build our divider board all the way up, because otherwise they're gonna cross over in the lid area. And even though it's hard to get there, because of the way the frames come across and they butt all together, you don't use any top boards in the lanes, right? So they're sealed off. And which bothers me a little bit, where I have a vent in this warm weather, you know? But that's a thought on what are we gonna do for that ventilation in this warm weather right now?
You might be able to put like a screen, like on the end of
Put
it.
a screen in between, up on, in the
Where
layers.
where your frame is.
Yeah,
Instead of having a frame on that last end, you put your, a board with a screen on it, very out, maybe.
yeah, I just got finished building a 20 frame. And I'm looking at today, I've got 6 frame trap right now that I'm going to put in it. And like I said, to build it out, you know, I gotta figure out how I want to alternate my frames. The 6 frame trap is filled out, cone all across, a lot of nectar and a week and a half ago, I had a problem with the heat, and they wanted the mat, they used wax foundation. And so I had a couple of frames collapsed, yeah. So,
We have to actually see 6 to 7 frames through, you know, right, during the summertime.
yeah,
So that's a lot of these and.
so it's all I can move in.
Did we help you, Tim, at all?
I'll regeneration quickly.
Does anybody else have anything that they want to discuss? Justin,
I want to know what was your favorite question that you did put in the presentation? That either for
you want to go over it? You want to do it? It's, I think we got the room for it. I was kind of hoping we'd have more new beekeepers to show up to this, which is why I kind of started out with the questions that it did. Let's just do it. It'll take a couple minutes, but I think we got time.
I wanted to go around the room, see if anybody had anything they wanted to share that they, either piece of trivia they learned recently or something new as well. Like,
You want to do that, Bethany? What do you? If you had to add something to this presentation that you're aware of, that you think is maybe the majority of the room isn't privy to, what do you think it would be? It means you guys got to start thinking about this. Take a deep breath since I started over here. What do you think?
That I should have been first.
I'll start, just get it
Thank
going.
Yeah.
Your time question really interested me because I've always been intrigued by where you read the bees can count. Has anybody actually looked into that and determined how they figured that out? That bees can count up to 6?
Really?
Yes, bees can count up to 6, and they are one of the few animal species that understand the concept of 0. And what was most interesting to me, so I've heard that forever. And I started one day, I was trying to figure out how they did it.
Well, that's really what makes up a lot of this stuff doesn't surprise us. What really intrigues me is how did they come to the conclusion?
So, what they did was they got a bunch of bees together, and it's kind of like the carrot stick method. So, they would show them pictures that had groups of a certain number of items. I don't know what the items were. But let's say, just say they're using playing cards, and they show them a 4 of hearts, and they show them a 2 of hearts. And if the bees flew to the one that had less, they gave them sucrose. And if they flew to the one that was more, they gave them something bitter. So they were training the bees to pick the lower number. And the bees could count up to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then they stopped. Well, the bees understood, so they got all the way down till they showed them a blank card. And one had 2, and the bees understood the blank card was less than 2 or less than 1. And the bees would pick it. Isn't that interesting?
I just got one up, it's
Yeah, see?
You think Justin has full of BS too?
I just looked it up.
Yeah, but you didn't trust him.
I just read this.
You're as bad as Glenn.
Either I watched a video on it or read something on it just in the last week. It was just
No, I wanted to.
amazing to me.
So how many tax dollars do you think it cost us to get that answer?
Billions, probably. Probably they had to shut down Bellsville.
Something that didn't matter really.
Go ahead. What do you?
I saw this on the internet, so it has to be true. Right? Bees can recognize people's faces.
Yep.
Yes.
Do you think that's true?
I've actually heard a number associated with it, but I don't know what the number is. It's like they can remember up to 4 people, 3 people. I don't know what the number is. That's very cool.
They remember if you feed them in a certain location and you turn around and, a lot of times if you feed them in a new place, it takes them a little while but if you feed them in some place, and what's forager bees only live, or only spending 3 weeks outside the hive, right? You come back 4 weeks later and put food, and they'll find that faster than they will if you put it in a place that never had food. Now, why is that? Are they passing that information along? Do you agree?
Why wouldn't they? Because they do when it comes to pollen and nectar, so why wouldn't
Yeah, there's
they
some
do
sort of
that?
generational knowledge exchange. There has to be.
Yeah. How do drones know from one year to the next where the congregation areas are at?
Because we're
Or
bored.
Virgin Queen. The
Yeah,
Virgin Queen
that's
is
kinda
where it is.
Yeah, the drug congregation areas are in the same place every year, and we still don't understand exactly why they are where they are.
Do we know where they are?
Yeah, there's one real famous one above an Arby's, of all places. There's one Arby's, I don't know where it's at, but they find dead drones in the parking lot all year long. I don't know, I don't remember exactly where it's at. But that's the most famous drone congregation area above an Arby's.
I won't go person to person. Does anybody else have anything that they want to share?
Glenn, I know you have something, come on.
Well, I wasn't gonna say anything. Kind of hard to add to this. This is some pretty abstract information here, in my opinion. But I did think of something. The basic thing that we've heard about how far bees will go to find nectar and or pollen.
Yeah.
It was like 5 miles, something like that.
Yeah.
And obviously that's based on
Yeah.
if there's nothing better or closer.
Yep.
That's pretty crazy. That's pretty wild to go that far.
Yep.
My question is, who followed that bee for 5 miles? How did they bait that one, you know, without being too flippant? How? who
Have you
figured that out?
have you read Honeybee Democracy by Tom Seeley? So he set up his experiments. He set up on an island that never had honeybees on it, and it was barren of anything that was. I don't want to tell you a lie. I think there's a reason why there was never honeybees on it. But he was able to set up experiments and set up swarms and all that. So they could. I would think they would have to set something like that up in an area where it just was not prudent for bees, and then you'd have to set something up further and further and further away until eventually they found it. I mean, there's going to be a point, right? You know, it's just like a car. You've only got a certain range with your car, right?
Well, what if they don't live very long, working themselves to death like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It comes a point where you're not bringing hardly anything back.
Hmm. Anyhow, that's a point that did come to mind with this type of a demonstration,
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some sort of beeline where they're catching them halfway somewhere, catching them, marking them.
Tattoo them, yeah.
So if anybody has bees in Harrisville, and you have a yellow dotted worker, that's my fault. I was at the farmer's market Saturday, and I had a local trying to break in my,
Well, that's an interesting point too, that maybe it's a beginner, intermediate, whatever, the fact that the drones will go in anyway. They'll just go in anybody's front door.
Okay. Good point. So let me ask you a question. Will they do that for real?
Oh.
Okay. Now okay. We know, right, that a drone in this box can end up in this box. Okay? But what if the next box is 200 yards that way? Will they still do it? If a drone,
They go in and rob, so why wouldn't they?
drones don't rob.
Well,
I got you. Well, so it turns out they will do that within your apiary, but they won't go a half mile away. If they go to a drone congregation area, they won't stop, you know, because they go about a half mile, right? And they won't stop, you know, at a friend's house a quarter mile away. But within your apiary, within your where your bees are at, then the bees will share.
So I can see that being kind of a bad thing, not for the genetics. Oh, good. I mean, if you got great bees like over there at John's, you know, then you would want them to stay close, I suppose.
So you're actually leading into the question that I really did want to talk about. So we all understand how bees don't
Mix.
with family.
Mm-hmm.
Incest. How do they prevent incest? Everybody understands,
That's
right?
kind of a hard thing to prove too.
So how far do drones travel to go to drone congregation areas?
You just said a half mile.
Half mile. What do queens do? Go way further, right? So why is that? Why don't the queens go a half mile and the drones go 2 miles away? You know why that's the case?
Same reason.
So how many queens get mated every year?
She's mating.
This many?
A month.
But how many drones are out there trying to fight to get mated? Well, the drones, they both have the same gas tank. Both can only fly for so long. But a drone, to be successful, has to go out and fly for a long period of time and be there at the time the queen flies through. How long does it take for a queen to get mated? We used to believe, and I've told people this, and it bothered me when I learned that I was wrong. But then I didn't feel so bad because I think it was 2016, maybe 2012, we discovered. So does a queen go out and mate and then come back, and then go out and mate with another drone and come back, or does she go out once and mate with, with all of them and then come back?
But I think it's once.
She goes out once.
Once and done.
Yeah.
How much time does it take per drone to get mated? 1.2 seconds.
That's pretty quick.
Wow.
Yeah. So a queen can go and mate with 12 drones and be done in less than 60 seconds, right? So she doesn't have to go out and fly around for 30 minutes. So it's okay for her to go 2 miles away or whatever the distance is, find a drone congregation area with non-relatives, and then get mated and come back. Where the drones, for them to be successful, if they were to fly that far away, then they would,
Can't hang out all day.
like, yeah, then they only get a few minutes to cruise for chicks. Right? So, anyway, we used to believe that a queen would go out and get mated because, and then have to come back and then get cleaned up by the workers because the drone, first successful drone, leaves part of his manhood with her, and then he's done. But I think, like I said, it was either 2012 or 16 they discovered that the drone actually has the ability to come in and push that away and then do his business and be done. Again, in less than 2 seconds.
Brings back the tax dollars question.
Yeah. So this all leads to the intriguing question that I wanted to ask. What happens? There's always going to be a situation. Maybe you move a colony of bees, and now the new queen is now amongst her brothers, or relatives, or whatever. So it still happens, right? It can even with all that, it can still happen that she mates. So what happens? What happens if she mates with a relative and fertilizes an egg and lays it? What happens? Is it what's the result of that? Does anybody know? It's pretty obscure stuff, isn't it? So what happens is if that egg goes to term, if that brood goes to term, I think, and I'm not an expert on this, but it has something to do with the alleles. And there's a spot on the DNA where the sex alleles line up, and I think there's 100 and I don't think they know for sure. It's like 120 some to 180 some different potential alleles. And if those two alleles match, that means that the queen and the drone were related. And so that means that even though that egg was fertilized, it will evolve into a drone. Right?
So she's gonna be a drone laying queen? For parts of.
Here's the interesting part. I say never. Never say never, never say always. The workers know when that egg hatches that there's something wrong with it, and they will cannibalize the larva within 24 hours.
And the queen could be with the different drone.
Yeah, I mean, the queen mates with there's, some places you'll say the record's 70, and some will say up to 36, but typically it's like a dozen, 15, something like that.
So you could have true fertilized eggs and.
Well, they are going to be, all the fertilized eggs, but a percentage of those fertilized eggs are going to be from, are going to have matching alleles at that point on the DNA, and so it makes you wonder. You ever have a queen and you say, oh, that's a spotty brood, but is it the queen? Maybe she's laying great, right? Maybe she put an egg in every one of those cells, and 3 days later, 4 days later, they popped it out.
The DNA test to figure that out.
Again, with tax dollars, we're unlimited. We can do whatever we want. Any questions about that? Anybody else got anything else?
Can bees learn Morse code?
This is you. You tell us. Oh, I don't know.
She's trying off her leg.
Oh, I'm going to say false. You're full of BS.
They can.
Is that right? Oh, so you knew the answer. Okay. Bees can learn Morse code. I guess I kind of earned this, didn't I? I've been sowing these oats all evening, haven't I?
It's not just saying, I'm not sure if I'm right, but was it the queen doesn't have a father, but does have a grandfather? Is that the right way that is?
That's the drone.
The drone? The drone doesn't have a,
Doesn't have a father.
doesn't have a father, but it does have a grandpa. Yeah.
That is weird.
You're in the headlights.
Yeah. Okay. What? Did anybody have a good time at all?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent job.
I think so. I'll just give you a B though.
I'm just glad. Listen, with some of the people that are here, Jay Robertson. I'm just glad I didn't get tomatoes thrown at me, to be honest with you, or eggs or something.
Oh, that's not.
This is a B plus. This is a B.
Oh, see?
This is a big turnout, dude. This is a big turnout. The new.
Yeah. Where are you guys from?
Korea,
Korea?
Oh, nice.
south of Poland.
Oh, okay. Are you part of the Mountaineer Club or? Okay. You just I don't remember seeing you at meetings. I mean, you look familiar, but.
This is a big old gas.
Oh, so you were in the classes?
We were in your class, yeah.
Okay.
And,
Still, Ontario probably.
we had,
I wasn't part of that.
we had, 3 traps up, actually a 4th one went up right next to a swarm. We're hoping it would, because it was way up, and we're hoping they would drop into Central Trap and went somewhere else. But we weren't successful in our own traps. And, Dan Newbrook,
Yeah.
house swarm, and he's out of equipment. Brother,
Oh.
you got to work with us.
Yeah.
You know, do you want it? Sure. So we brought him over off of his Langstroth
Yeah.
nook box and just shook him into my trap box.
Okay.
And that's where they are right now. And then the next couple of days, we're going to transfer it into the big hut. But things were working out. It was that swarm was queenless, and I went in a week later,
Yeah.
seeing no.
So are you just now starting beekeeping?
Just started, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're just starting. So
You didn't strike me as a new beekeeper.
Well, I try to learn.
Yeah.
You know, the class is really good.
Yep.
And I've got friends like him and others, and, you know,
Yeah.
that I can talk with at any time, and Dan.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And we so something interesting is in that 6 Frame Lands box. Dan suggested that I put in